Welcome to the Virtual Strategic Solutions Virtual Reality Simulation System. Accessing Legacy Dataset. Files loaded, simulation ready. Camp Venture was known before the Great War for its extreme survival training. Known as V.E.S.T, Virginia's Endurance and Survival Training, it was run by Edward Hayes Jr., a Free States member. The intense training course lasted 4 weeks, with attendees working on their cardio, strength and learning numerous skills, including building fires, cleaning water, establishing shelter, week 1, handling firearms, field dressings, safety against poisonous flora, week 2, wilderness navigation, first aid and signals, week 3. The final week was essentially an examination, where attendees applied the skills they learned in practice. Hayes used the facilities to train members of the Free States, including Raleigh Clay and his family, in preparation for the nuclear war. However, Hayes later mothballed the facility and retreated to his bunker shortly before the Great War. After the bombs dropped, this proved to be a windfall for Taggarty's Thunder, left to fend for themselves by the chain of command. Acting on De Silva's recommendation, Lieutenant Taggarty moved her squad into the camp, where they survived the harsh winter of 2077 to 78. Taggarty ordered the camp to full readiness in order to fill out the ranks, putting Sergeant Ted Wilson in charge of training volunteers. Within 29 days, Wilson brought the mothballed facility back to operational status, improvising a training regimen, adapting Ranger techniques to their present situation, complicated by the lack of an airborne component, but he made do. Recruits signed up regularly, but Wilson's brutal training caused many to wash out. The first class that graduated from Camp Venture had an over 50% failure rate and 1 fatality due to the live fire exercises Wilson had recruits perform. However, they were the right kind of people for the Thunder, the Lieutenant and Captain Maxson. In fact, it was here that the Appalachian Brotherhood of Steel was eventually born. Complications happened from time to time. On January 3, 2081, a recruit by the name of Fisher, just a week from graduation, deserted from the camp, taking a combat shotgun, 10 boxes of shells, salvage recon, and other gear. The incident resulted in Sergeant Wilson modifying the recruiting strategy used by Lieutenant Taggarty, starting a pattern of elitism and preferring military veterans in recruiting. However, the camp's training continued, and when the Brotherhood was formed around 2082, it provided a steady stream of new troops for the organization. Although some could not take the strain, as was the case with 1K Kelly, who took her own life on November 9, 2083, unable to live on after losing most of her family and loved ones, others excelled, as was the case with Tex Rogers, who received a commendation on March 26, 2086, from Wilson, the very first he issued since the Great War. As this came just as the situation around Huntersville was heating up, the timing was impeccable. Although the camp could continue for the foreseeable future, the appearance of the Scorch Beasts and the Scorched, coupled with Taggarty's steep recruitment criteria, meant the camp's life expectancy was drastically reduced. Losses taken in containing the Bog's Scorched threat and refusal to cooperate with other factions led to the camp being shuttered in July 2093, with remaining personnel reassigned to Fort Defiance, Thunder Mountain Power Plant, and defense stations along the Bog's perimeter. The remaining squires were immediately assigned combat duties, completing their training in practice, while Wilson was promoted to Fort Defiance Executive Officer. By the time of the opening of Vault 76, all the bunkhouses outside the perimeter wall were falling apart, and the interior was overrun by Scorched. Camp Venture sits on the edge of the Mire. It is divided into 3 distinct sections: the outer perimeter on the southern side, the entrenched Brotherhood of Steel facility, and the northern cliff, housing a vertibot landing pad and a small shooting range. The outer perimeter is surrounded by a crooked wooden palisade wall, with several lookout towers attached to it. It is comprised of a restroom in a wooden cabin, bunkhouses Alpha and Phoenix, the latter located behind the former up the hill, a storage and supplies cabin with a basement, which holds the chute for forbidden knowledge, and a small cabin with 2 gurneys in it and a SEER training sign on the ground in front of it. To the west, a small path with a bridge leads to the Pioneer Scouts athletic test. Up the hill in the northwest and next to the facility entrance are the derelict remains of bunkhouses Bravo and Charlie, with their signs on the ground and attached to a wall respectively. The Brotherhood of Steel facility is fully enclosed by prefabricated metal fortifications. It can be accessed on either its southern or eastern side via red double doors. Inside, the barracks are located in a cabin on the southern edge. They hold many notes and holotapes as well as a small kitchen. East of the barracks are a chemistry station, 2 power armor stations, which can potentially have a power armor frame, and an armor workbench. Next to the eastern entrance is another cabin, which houses a small armory with a weapons workbench. A level 3 locked security gate prohibits entrance, but can be opened by either the secure storage key found in a locked level 0 locker in the barracks, or a level 3 lockpicking skill. A multitude of items can potentially be found in this room, which also holds a level 3 locked floor safe under one of the shelves. The last building is the command center, which has a level 3 lock on its door. Access is gained by either picking the lock or by obtaining the command center password and using the nearby terminal to unlock the door. Inside are several ammo boxes, more notes and holotapes holding information about Fort Defiance's location, a steamer trunk, the overseer's cache, and 2 terminals. The landing pad is emblazoned with the insignia of Tagady's Thunder and can be accessed by taking the stairs up the cliff in the northwestern corner of the facility. Alternatively, one can follow the Pioneer Scouts athletic test, which happens to end on the pad's western side. There is a control terminal at the top of the stairs, which is used to call a cargo bot to the location during Defiance has fallen. On the landing pad's eastern side is the weapons training shooting range, which is usually inhabited by feral ghouls. It has another weapons workbench, a tinker's workbench, and an ammunition vending machine. The small cabin here holds a level 0 locked ammo box alongside a duffel bag and a cooler.